shrieks of laughter.
And he walked into a newsreel, a sound newsreel of just things happening on the screen, of bacon frying, of a man working with an anvil, of someone starting a crank on an old Model T Ford. And the sounds of these things coming over the loudspeakers put everybody into fits of laughter. This was actually during the production of the silent version of Welcome Danger, and at that point he said, stop, we have to make a sound picture, because if the sounds can get that much laughs, then who knows, the sky's the limit.
Reshooting for sound pushed the budget close to $1 million. Besides sound effects, there were sound jokes.
Newberry. Well, I've heard of raspberry and strawberry, but this is a newberry on me.
Lloyd confidently planned a preview for New York exhibitors.
The running was very bad. The film broke in several cases, and I had to go in the projection room and sync it up. It was a nightmare.
Chief, where are you? Here on the stairs.
Lloyd made a joke at the expense of the new talkies. Lots of sound, no picture.
Wait, light a match. I can't find the next step. Hey, watch yourself. Look out. Oh, my. Oh, hey, stop shaking it.
Don't be nervous, Chief.
Well, somebody's shaking it.
I'm not shaking it.
Get a mattress.
The film was a failure in every way except financial. Out of curiosity, audiences flocked to hear Lloyd talking. He felt convinced he'd found the right formula. In his next film, by reworking the climb from Safety Last in sound, Lloyd thought he'd consolidate his success with talkies.
Hey, look at her.
But Feet First, released into the Depression, showed a severe box office drop for the first time in his career.
You have been listening to the voice of Hollywood, that enchanted town. Here is the place where adventure came.
It was 2 years before Lloyd felt ready to try again.
The script was written by a quite eminent American playwright, Vincent Lawrence. Harold began to feel when talking films came in that he should have a proper script with well-written dialogue.
Harold is a movie hopeful. In this scene, a screen test, he parodies the acting of many early talkies.
Darling.
Oh, my precious, my sweetheart.
The bag? What are you packing the bag for?
I'm leaving you, dear.
You're what?
This is the last time we'll ever see each other.
Harold.
Oh, my dear, don't you understand? I'm doing it for your sake. The market has crashed and dragged me down with it. I've lost everything, even you.
I'll live with you in a tent.
I couldn't bear to see you suffer.
I'll wade through the mud and love it.
Oh, Marjorie.
I want nothing but you.
Oh, Marjorie.
You're my life.
Oh, Marjorie.
Oh, say you love me. Say it.
I do love you, Marjorie. I do love you. I 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 love you.
I don't know where they pick guys up like this.
Harold falls for a blonde actress played by Constance Cummings.
I want you to always be as you are with me. I couldn't love you if you played with other girls. You wouldn't be that different fellow.
In Make-Up as a Mexican girl, she'd also aroused his interest by accident. Not realizing the two girls are the same, Harold is involved in an intricate comedy of errors.
Not only was he full of ideas about what he was going to actually do in the scene, but he was a man with a devastating sense of humor, and he loved practical jokes.
Would you like to dance with me?
Why, I'd love to.
Harold is trying to impress a producer's wife, but he's accidentally exchanged coats with a magician.
Oh, heaven!
Oh, was a bird.
That's all right.
Lloyd was a master at the comedy of embarrassment.
Is the other strap all right?
The idea of serving a salad of this kind without fried steak is perfectly absurd.
I'm very sorry, madam. I'll have it fixed in a second.
We did not do a lot of takes. For instance, in the big party scene where there was so much chaos and mayhem and the rabbits and mice and everything running around the place, that was all rehearsed. And then it was just shot once or twice.
Oh, there he goes again.
At last, Lloyd felt he had a successful blend of sight gags and dialogue.
Personally, I think that was his best picture. And that's where his decline started with Movie Crazy, because that picture didn't do well at the box office, did a lot less money at the box office than earlier pictures. Then he must have felt it was pretty hopeless.
Convinced the picture was a hit, he went on a tour of Europe. He visited Ashenden coal mine in the north of England, where his mother's ancestors had come from.
This coal we got down in the very depth of the mine. Is that right? That's right. And I can assure you that I'm going to put that in our archives and treasure it always.
When he realized the film had flopped, he was shattered. He consoled himself with his estate and his family. He now had an adopted daughter, Peggy, and a son, Harold Jr.
Hey, listen, what kind of an actor is your daddy?
Well, he was extremely affectionate to his children. He gave them practically everything they wanted, something he never had. Maybe overcompensated because of that.
He made these talking home movies for his family's benefit.
Give it to him. The old tin type. Come on, that's the old tin type. It's the old tin type. Napoleon. Come on, sir.
He was really a fun father. He was a strict father, a Victorian father in many ways, but lots of fun.
Wait.
Here Lloyd clowns with his father, Foxy.
Can I smoke this for you? Well, you're liable to get the effects, of course.
Behind the charm lay the inevitable tensions.
Oh, listen. All right, get out of here.
Harold's weakness, something that very few people knew. One was he had a violent temper, for which he was extremely sorry about afterwards. I would do anything to make up for it.
He had a pretty hot temper. He really did. And when he got mad, I mean, he, especially with us as children, he'd chase us around the house. We'd go under beds. We'd go in closets. And, I mean, he wanted his way. You know, he thought we hadn't behaved.
I never saw him blow it up on the studio.
His output slowed to one film every 2 years. In the cast of The Milky Way was Lionel Stander.
Now what?
That's all, I quit.
And he chose as director a veteran of silent comedy, Leo McCarey.
McCarey had a peculiar fixation. He had to have a piano on the set because in between scenes when he wanted to be inspired, he'd play the piano.
For Lloyd, it was like the old days.
Well, Leo belongs to my school, and we don't stick to the script.
One scene required Harold to smuggle a colt into a taxicab.
That whole scene was completely ad-libbed. We didn't have it in the script at all,
And when we got there to shoot it, we didn't know what it was going to do. So Leo says, Harold, now we got the colt in there. You work to the colt. And the funny part is that we expected to put the neighs of the horse in afterwards. Leo McCarey did the whinnying of the horse. But he did it so well and so on the point that instead of redubbing that, we kept Leo's whinnies in there, and they're in there today, and no one knows the difference.
Come on, step on it.
Once again, the critics raved, but the public stayed away.
Things started to taper off for him because he began to lose more control. The head of the studio had input on it. The executive in charge of production had input on it. The writing staffs and other people would come in to do rewrites, and it got to the point where he felt like he didn't need the grief anymore.
Not even the golf course on his estate could compensate.
For an actor not to be active in his profession, it's like a golfer that hasn't played golf for a year or so. You get very rusty.
Lloyd with Chaplin and Douglas Fairbanks, his two greatest influences. Of all the silent stars, he had succeeded best with sound, but he was defeated by something else, the Depression. His character's pursuit of success, once so appealing, was no longer fashionable in the 30s. However hard he tried, audiences failed to respond. His sixth talk he lost more heavily than ever.
And I was terribly disappointed in it, and after it was released, I said to the boys, I am not going to start on another picture until we get an idea that I think has real merit behind it. And I looked for about 6 months very diligently, and I didn't come up with what I considered was a good idea. Then I got doing something else, and after I'd stayed off the screen for about 2 years, I stopped looking, and a lot of people wondered why I had more or less stopped making pictures. That was really behind it. It wasn't that you just decided to quit. You just kind of tapered off, is all.
Even buried in his hobbies, Lloyd had to excel, as in every other field. He studied microscopy. He took up abstract painting and made a study of the science of color. He won awards as a stereo photographer. He took these shots of Marilyn Monroe. His film career seemed over. But Lloyd still had fans. One was director Preston Sturges. He had never forgotten The Freshman. He wanted to use it in his new film, a tribute to Lloyd's career. He wanted Lloyd to star, an opportunity impossible to miss.
I want to see you. What? I want to see you as soon as you get through college.
For Lloyd regarded Sturges as the industry's most brilliant comedy director. With finance from Howard Hughes, success seemed assured. Harold played the character from The Freshman. What might have happened to him 20 years on?